सदा स्मरामि हृदि संस्फुरदात्मतत्त्वं सच्चित्सुखं परमहंसगतिं तुरीयं यस्वप्नजागरसुषुप्तमवैति नित्यं तद्ब्रह्म निष्कलमहं न च भूतसङ्गः तद्ब्रह्म निष्कलमहं न च भूतसङ्गः. I constantly meditate within my heart on the self-effulgent Atman, the existence, knowledge, bliss absolute, the goal of the great ascetics, the transcendent and the eternal, who is beyond the states of waking, dream, and deep sleep. I am verily that indivisible Brahman and not a combination of material elements. In our studies of Atmabodha, we found Shankara has almost expounded the philosophy of Advaita, and then in crisp statements, he gave us how to practice nididhyasana. Verse 32-37, they give beautifully, he has given us food for our meditation. Nididhyasana doesn't mean to say you sit on the asana and do it. Constantly pondering over these ideas will, when we sit on our asana, those ideas will go deep within and it will bring corresponding results. That means constant thinking, recollection of these ideas is necessary. And then another 7 shlokas he dealt with meditation according to Raja Yoga. So when you are at work, when you are awake, you think in this line of reasoning, and the mind gets soaked in this idea. Later, when one sits and practices meditation according to Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, it boosts our meditation, our concentration. So both way, the Vedantic meditation and the yogic meditation is clubbed together to get the appropriate results. And finally, now he is, in these few 7 shlokas, he's trying to expound or show us what's the result of this. If somebody has attained this, and what is their experience, then it will prompt us all also to practice our spiritual life, take things seriously. So in the final ends, he told us that you needn't have to establish the Atman. We are not attaining Atman. Atman is already attained. It is already there. It's not something which I need to attain. All I need to do is to remove the obstacles that are a hindrance to my experiencing of my own self. Ajnanena avritam jnanam. Knowledge is covered by ignorance. Shri Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita. So this, all our endeavor, all our spiritual practices, such as sravana, manana, nididhyasana, nityanitya vastu, viveka, all this, actually it works in a negative way, because they don't bring us anything new, because already we have. How? That's beautifully being explained. Though the Atman is ever-present reality, yet because of ignorance, it is unrealized. I need to attain my self-knowledge. I have to attain Atman. Atma Sakshatkar, I have to do all this, we say, because the ignorance has covered the ever-present reality. On the destruction of the ignorance, the Atman is realized. It's a self-revelation. How? He says, it's like the case of an ornament on one's neck. Usually we do that. Many times we forget the various precious things, don't know where we have kept it, and we just frantically go in search of everywhere. Where did I keep? Where did I keep? And somebody asks, what are you searching for? My necklace, my chain. Oh, that's on your neck. Then, oh, it's here. We make such error. And then, oh, it's there. In the same way, because of lack of attention, we were too busy we were preoccupied with many things that we lost sight of the ever-present reality. And once it's focused, or once our focus is brought to that, hey, it's there. I hadn't lost it at all. It's like that. Till here we had read, studied it. Now he has got to tell us something very profound. It's very hard for us to take the idea that we are infinite. We have so well accustomed ourselves to our ignorance and our limitations that to think that we are free, perfect, eternal, infinite persons, it's hard to take in. It's too much for us. So naturally we say, oh, what the scripture says about the knowledge of Brahman is about the Brahman, not about us. That we are jivas, we are puny little creatures. How can you expect me to think that I'm the infinite, all-pervading one who transcend even the space? I transcend even this cosmos. I'm beyond the cosmos, and I hold this cosmos in my womb. To think this idea is too much for us. So we try to deny. But Shankara is not a person who is going to leave us. Sri Ramakrishna says, if you have admitted yourself in the hospital till you're cured, the hospital will not discharge you. Sri Ramakrishna is speaking about the hospital of those days, not the present days hospital who push you out without even diagnosing. Anyway, so Shankara is not going to allow us to go. He will teach us, whether we accept it or not. However tight we may hug the ignorance to our bosom, he will remove it. This is what he's telling you. Yes, I started. Correct. Which one? Sthano purushavad bhrantya krita brahmani jivata jivasya tatvike rupe tasmin drishthe nivartate. Sthano purushavad bhrantya krita brahmani jivata jivasya tatvike rupe tasmin drishthe nivartate. Brahman appears to be a jiva through ignorance, as a stump of a tree appears to be a man. This jivahood is destroyed when the real nature of the jiva is realized. There is a stump of tree or a post in the darkness. We tend to mistake it as a person or anything. Suppose a thief is going in the darkness and he sees, good heavens, I'm done. There's a police standing there. It's all the time, it's a post or a stump of a tree. A child has been told the story of ghost, and ghosts are there in darkness, and the little one will see the post and take it for ghost and scream. All the while it is just a stump of a tree or a post. So such type of delusions arise, or misapprehension arises due to non-apprehension of the reality. Because we do not know the reality, we mistake so many things on that. Similarly, on Brahman, which is the supreme self, and the very substratum of everything, our own ignorance projects our jivahood. And this egocentric existence. And what is its characteristic? Kartritva, bhoktritva, sukhitva, dukhitva, kartritva, doership. I am the doer. I am the enjoyer. I am the sufferer. All sorts of false notions is superimposed on one pure existence. Hence, when told by an illumined teacher, you are not what you think to be, you are that, thou art that. And taking the instruction from the teacher and reflecting on it, meditating on this great statements, one realizes, one overcomes one's ignorance and knows the true nature of the individualized self as supreme universal consciousness. Swami Vivekananda says, that is the real individuality, where there is no more division, no more parts. We are not at individuals. We are all struggling to attain that individuality. And individuality is always in infinite, not in parts. I'm an individual, you are this is a delusion. The scriptures tell us. The next. Tattvasvarupānubhavat utpannam jnanamanjasa aham mameti chāgnānam bādhate digbhrāmadhivat. Tattvasvarupānubhavat utpannam jnanamanjasa aham mameti chāgnānam bādhate digbhrāmadhivat. The knowledge produced by the realization of the true nature of reality destroys immediately the ignorance characterized by the notions of I and mine. As the sun, the mistake regarding one's direction. The knowledge that arises from the experience of the nature of truth. What? Sat Chit Ananda. I am existence, consciousness, bliss absolute. This is what the universal consciousness of Brahman, the scripture promised us. This knowledge, when it comes, it immediately destroys the ignorance. Here, when knowledge means, it's not the book knowledge. It is the immediate knowledge, direct experience. Aparokshanubhuti, what is called direct knowledge. And what does it do? It destroys or sublates instantly, anjasa, immediately, the ignorance in the form of I and mine. These are the two things which bar our vision of the highest reality. Sri Ramakrishna says, he covers himself with a thin cloth and he says, look, I'm sitting so close to you, but because of this curtain, you're not able to see me, though I'm so close. And this is called as Maya. And what is Maya? Maya is nothing but Ami, Amar, I and mine. And this I, from a simple awareness that I am, to arrogant arrogance, it can go. So for us, before taking to spiritual life, certain big branches of this I has to be cut mercilessly. Only then we have to enter into this field of big branches of this I, arrogance, ego has to be cut, so that we get the humility to listen to our teacher and we will understand it rightly. If not, this ego will distort even the very teachings of the teacher. It can, it does. And the beautiful example he gives, and Sri Ramakrishna gives an example of this arrogance. A rich landlord is there, is a terror. A poor fellow out of poverty steals 10 rupees. And this fellow, what he does, this zamindar, he first takes away the 10 rupees from him and gets him nicely bet, and then he will hand him over to police and say, you don't know who I am? How dare you do this? You stole my 10 rupees, just 10 rupees. This arrogance can be so strong. Sri Ramakrishna says, such is the nature of arrogance. Such is the nature of I. It's a conceit of I-ness in the body and the conceit of mindness in the wealth which we have. And this arises through the ajnana, ignorance of one's true nature. As how Sri Krishna said in the previously I told you, knowledge is covered by ignorance. Knowledge is there. Ignorance of I and mind, the cloud of I and mind has covered this infinite reality. Just like a small patch of cloud can cover the sun. It's a cloudy day. We know how big the sun is, but we say sun is not, the clouds have covered it. Clouds can cover. Can really clouds cover? No. The cloud is covering our vision of sun. So individual ignorance, if it goes off, then I'm as well as infinite reality. The whole universe didn't have to be. If I destroy my individual ignorance, that's more than sufficient. So each one of us have got our own individual ignorance. Our own little mind, our own little ego is the patch on the infinite Atman. And that we alone have to remove it. And with that, we have for what we are struggling for. And the beautiful example he gives is, the simile given is that in the darkness, one traveling to a new place or in a bushland always goes off the track and in confusion because it's darkness. You see, everything happens in darkness. In the bright light, no one gets confused. No one sees a snake in the rope in the bright light. It's only in the darkness we tend to. Because darkness is always associated with ignorance. Ignorance and darkness go together. Light and knowledge. So in darkness, we go out of track of a direction. We do not know which direction we are going through. But as soon as the sun rises, everything is cleared and we are back to our right track. So that's what he means. Then we know our true relationship with the world and with the beings. And then our relationship will be balanced on the right terms. What is it? Samyak vijnanavan yogi swatmanevakhilam jagat ekam cha sarvamatmanam ikshate jnana chakshusha. The yogi, endowed with complete enlightenment, sees through the eye of the knowledge the entire universe in his own self and regards everything as the self and nothing else. The yogin, or a spiritual aspirant of perfect knowledge and realization. That's what vijnanavan. In Bhagavad Gita, jnana vijnana. Jnana is the knowledge which you get from the teacher. You hear from the teacher. That is the conceptual knowledge. But when this conceptual knowledge is converted into experiential knowledge, then it becomes vijnana. Jnana, vijnana. Here it's a vijnana one because experiential certainty is there. That's why he's Vijnanavan, endowed with Vijnana. That is realization. Nothing. If you eat chili and know that chili is hot, anybody can come, sweet chili. Sweet chilies are sweet. Sometimes they write sweet chilies and all that. Chips, potato chips, sweet chili and all that. I don't know what it is. Anyway, so no one can convince you that chilies are sweet because you have got the experience that chilies are very hot. So anyone can tell, no, we are all jivas, we are limited persons. But you understand your own self as all-pervading consciousness. There is nobody, nothing apart from you. This sort of experience you have, it's an amazing experience which no books can tell us. Depending upon our subtlety and inwardness and our spiritual evolution, this shlokas or this experience can be very lofty and wonderful. So here the yogi sees everything in the Atman and the Atman in everything, the divinity in everything and everything in this. He's an awakened person, prabuddha, wide awake. And it says, with the eye of wisdom, he can detect the underlying reality. It's so vivid and so obvious, this experience to him, that the differences and the duality becomes almost unreal. Almost unreal. Swamiji says, when he went to the desert, he did see beautiful lakes, green forests, and he was wondering, these people say this is a desert, and look how greenish, how lush green these trees are. And they say it's desert. Foolish. Kept on walking, few days, enjoying the beautiful sceneries. Then one day, went to one of those lakes to sip a little bit water. Gone. It was a shock, and he felt ashamed of himself. What a fool I am. I was fooled. This is the mirage I have learned about it, studied about it all my life, and yet I got fooled. So the next day when he started walking, they all came back. The same mirage came back. But with that came the knowledge that this is unreal. That fine distinction between the real and the unreal, the mind is able to grasp, which in our unenlightened intellect, we can't understand. We forget to see. Because a yogi has this experience, come what may, he will ignore all the superficial things which is seen in the person. And he will see the background reality. That's what Vedanta wants us to understand. Behind everyone, however evil, however crooked, however wicked they may be, but behind them also is the same reality. Very hard to accept until and unless experience comes. But what happens is, with constant thinking in these lines, reasoning in these lines, we will not be so harsh and so, what do you call, condemning on things when we see. We try to overcome it. And then everything in the Atman. So this is the one example we have in Bhagavad Gita again. Bhagavad Gita is the best what do you call, commentary on the Vedanta philosophy. Sarva bhutasthamatmanam sarva bhutani chatmani ikshate yoga yuktatma sarvatra samadarshana. With the heart concentrated by yoga, with the eye of evenness for all things, he beholds the self in all beings and all beings in the self. So this is the highest vision the Vedanta promises to every one of us, because we all have that reality within us, and we have got the organic capacity to experience this. It's left for us how much we want from it, how serious we are about it, what our priorities are. But we have got everything. We have got all the requirements, what is needed. There are the ideas. There, the universal life has provided us everything. And it's up to us to make use of it. And this goal can be attained only in this human body. This is the uniqueness of the human body, that in this mortal body, immortality can be attained. This is Srimad Bhagavatam says. That is the uniqueness, greatness. In no other body you can. In no other body can you subjectively think of yourself or objectify yourself and mercilessly analyze. This capacity only human mind has. This cerebral system which the nature has evolved has. So it's for us. That's why the human life is very precious, they say. And this realization, what does it do? The ego, which had limited us, bound us to this cage, to this prison of the psychophysical organism, that will be shattered to pieces by the heaviness or by the current of this realization. This is the good thing and the glorious thing which Vedanta gives us. In the same strain, Shankara is in habit of always repeating. Same thing was Atmaivedamid jagat sarvam atmano nanya vidyate mrudo yadvad ghatadini swatmanam sarvamikshate. Atmaivedam jagat sarvam atmano na anyat vidyate mrudo yadvad ghatadini swatmanam sarvam ikshate. The tangible universe is verily Atman. Nothing whatsoever exists that is other than Atman. As pots and jars are verily clay and cannot be anything but clay, so to the enlightened, all that is perceived is the self. It's as simple as that. Doesn't need much explanation, but since I'm standing here to explain, I shall go through. How do we realize that there is no world of things apart from the self? Just as one knows pots and pans are but clay, but one has to discern it. This is called as discernment. The first qualification which you have to equip yourself is Nitya Nitya Vastu Viveka, discernment of real and unreal. They are all mixed. Satyanritam, Mithuni Kritya. Shankaracharya in his Bhagavad Gita introduction says, real and unreal, both are mixed. So we need to have this sharp intellect, sharpened through discrimination or discernment to winnow the unreal and retain the real. Winnowing fan, all that you remove the husk and other thing and you get the kernel. So in the same way, like the intellect Swamiji had, anitya drishyeshu vivichya nityam. In this all unreal drishya, the objective world, he knows, his intellect straightly goes and pierces it and perceives the reality behind this. So this type of sharp discernment is our weapon through which we dissect this and see what's in it. And then, once that is understood, we will know the substratum behind the world of universe. In Vedanta, the cause, we have the whole universe is nothing but cause and effect. The cause is non-different from the effect, or the effect is cause in a different way. The effect is cause in a different way. Understand? How the illusion seen in the Atman as a mirage in the desert. So the desert is the substratum. On it, the mirage is there. And the mirage pervades everything. If the desert is not there, there's no mirage. So the mirage's existence completely depends upon the desert. Apart from the desert, the mirage has no existence of its own. Just as he said, pots and pan. What are they? All the crockeries made of clay. Fine. And what is the substance? Clay. And what is the effect? Is the beautiful vase, the beautiful pan. It's the difference is the name and the form and its utility. Apart from that, it's nothing but clay. We have in Drigdrishya Vivek, I suppose, Asti Bhati Priyam, Rupam Namam Cho Cha Amsha Panchakam, Adyatrayam Brahma Rupam, Jagad Rupam Tatodvayam. Asti Bhati Priya, name and form. These are the 5 things which are necessary for every objective universe. Every entity has these 5 characteristics. What are they? Existence, cognizability, attractiveness, form, and name. Of this, the first 3 belongs to Brahman, and the other 2 belongs to the world. So, Sat Chit Ananda plus name and form. This is our whole universe. But we are taken away by the name and form that we forget these 3, which are the very stuff of the world. Very stuff of the universe is that. Because name and form is so alluring, we go away with that and fail to notice the ever-present reality. And this is what discernment teaches us always, not that, this, not that, this. Neti, neti, not this, not this. The one which is in. So everything in the world is an expression of the Atman. Just as everything is clay, apart from clay, the name and form has no separate existence of its own. In the 8th shloka of this same Atmabodha, he discussed, because he is very good at repeating things. There he says, gold is the essence of all the ornaments. Gold is the Vishnu, all-pervading consciousness. Name and form is the universe, the ornaments. Now I want ornaments, so I take gold and get the ornaments done. Fine. I said, no, I'll take away the gold from these ornaments. Do the ornaments remain if I take away the gold? No. Ornaments can't be without. If I take away, it's just a lump of gold I might get, but I will not get ornaments. Ornaments completely depend upon the gold. It's changeable. When we say world is unreal, it does not mean like the horns of a rabbit. Rabbits don't have horns. Or garden flowers in the sky, in the space. No. Plants and trees and flowers grow in the ground, not in the sky. So it is not something unreal like that. The changeability is called as unreal because it's constant change. Samsara, samyak sarati, constantly changing. That is why samsara is unreal, we say. So unreal means constant change. Look, when we were born, we were vulnerable little ones. And now, how much of change has gone through in experience in this very body? How constantly it's changing. All the things what I brought, it has gone. So many times this body has been continuously changing, the cells, everything. But behind that, there is I, the same I. So I think I'm the same person. But whatever I brought to this world, that all has gone. Whatever I was nourished. That is why, when the monks get live the house for 12 years, they don't go back to the home. After 12 years, they go, because by 12 years, all what they brought from that home, the body has changed. Everything from the body has changed. And he has got, by the time one gets sannyasa and gets established, it's a new body. So there is less chances of getting attached, even if you go back once in a way to see the persons, because Vedanta doesn't ask you to be a brute. Just because you have given up your family, home and earth, you don't have to be a brute and hard-hearted. A monk is always loving. Only that thing is, he doesn't give a separate status for his parents. They form one of the member of the whole community or the universe. They are part of the divine. So as such, one can. But this 12 years, at least, they don't go, because the whole body is changed. But still, I'm the same person, because this continuity is there. But still, I said the body is unreal. How? Because of this changeability. Changeability is called as unreal, not that something unnatural things. So everything is part of the self. This knowledge one gets. And just to know that there's nothing apart from truth, everything becomes part of the truth. Oh, good heavens. Yeah. Jivan muktastu tad vidwan purvopadhi gunans tyajet satchidananda rupatvat bhavet bhramara kitavat. The same ideas in a different way he's telling. A Jivan Mukta, endowed with self-knowledge, gives up the traits of his previous upadhis because of his realization that he is of the nature of existence, knowledge, bliss, absolute. He verily becomes Brahman, like the cockroach becoming a Brahmara insect. This is a little bit, needs to be explained, how the wasp, the insect becomes wasp. That's what the folk stories and all in India that used to be there. Anyway, the Jivan Mukta. Who is a Jivan Mukta? Jivan Mukta is a liberated one who has realized his infinitude of his existence through his self-realization. And he has become completely free from avidya, ignorance. Even while living in the body is there. It continues to exist because of his prarabdha karma. All his past karmas, he has the realization, he has burnt it in this fire of consciousness. Samvinmaye pavake. This shloka, what is it? Manisha Panchakam says. So he burns everything. And of course, there is no future because already the ego has gone. But the package which was opened in that particular birth, in which he realized the self, that package is there. There's still more karmas are there. That karma has to be worked out. That cannot be. Prarabdha karma has to. And the body will stay as long as that karma remains. But that will not obstruct his vision or his realization. Just a slight hindrance is there. And once the body goes, he's completely liberated. This is only a view of certain Vedantists. Certain Vedantists don't. Once it is, it is. But the scripture says, supposing a man realizes his Atman, in 21 days his body falls off. Who is going to teach the scripture? Who is going to teach the scriptures? That is why Shankaracharya has discussed a lot in order to prove that prarabdha karma remains even after realization, but it does not harm the person. And Sri Ramakrishna has very nicely explained in a very simple way, no confusion, no arguments at all. If the divine wants, he will keep in you the ego of knowledge or the ego of bhakta to do his work. Very simple. You might have the self-realization samadhi, nirvikalpa samadhi you may have, but you'll come back. Why? You are ordained by the divine to teach. Who can be the better example than Shukadeva of the Bhagavata? And born Brahmajnani, knower of Brahman. Absolutely no delusion at all. But still he was born. Why? Why did he get this body? There was a reason. Who will teach Bhagavatam to the world? So he was. That is why he was brought down from the samadhini. He jada samadhi, seated there, born, straight went away, sat under the tree, meditating one with the infinite Brahman. Jada samadhi almost, he will, that psychophysical organism will not stand, it will wither away like a dry leaf. Then the very purpose of bringing him will not there, will be lost. So the Lord himself sent Narada, go and wake him up. And Narada goes to him and describes the beauty of the Lord in 4 verses. And that with the first verse, there is a tremor suddenly. And then there is horripilation, then the tears are, and then slowly in the 4th shloka, he opens them. And so Bhagavatam says, Itham bhuta guno harihi. Such is the nature of Hari, that even who are Atmarama, established in the self, they come down to enjoy him, enjoy the bliss of Ananda of God. So that's possible. So we needn't have to worry, but if at all, if we have the realization, we don't have to worry. In 21 days, you won't fall like a dry leaf. You will be there. So don't get frightened. When I read, when I was very young, 21 days, will fall off. Then in 21 days, almost death. It's very difficult, Baba. As if to say, I'm going to get the realization in 21 days, the body. So innocent and foolish. If the prarabdha karma is there, it will stay. And that will not hinder the vision of the Jivan Mukta. And he will work it out. Once it's finished, off he goes off. So he will continue to live. Outwardly, he is same like us. He also eats, drinks, sleeps, has the hunger, thirst, everything. Now, no difference between. But his realization will not allow him to identify himself with all his previous upadhis. That I am so and so, I'm this, I'm that, this is my body, this is my intellect, I'm so intelligent, I have got so many PhDs, all this intellect, the ego of the knowledge, it's an ignorance. So these things won't be there. He will not identify himself with any of these 3 layers. Gross, Annamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, he won't identify either with the intellect or the mind, nor the body. The pain and suffering of the body will not bother him so much as how it bothers us. Because we have got I-ness and minus in the body, anything happened to the body, we panic. But that will not be with him. And the vagaries of the minds will not disturb, because he knows he's something different. And he will not take pride in the intellect, because everyone behind them is knowledge itself. Jnana, Paramajnana is there behind everyone. So he will not take pride of his intelligence too. And how constantly he thinks, because he has been thinking of Brahman, he becomes Brahman. And this example of this insect, they say the wasp builds a mud nest with one little tiny door, and that it puts an insect in it. That's for the larva, I suppose. And then it keeps stinging that. It will be near the door, blocked, like Jallianwala Bagh, it's blocked. And it will keep on stinging. And poor insect it is so terribly afraid, always, almost mortally afraid, and constantly thinking of the wasp, the insect becomes wasp. That's what they say. Actually, what happens is the larva gets the wings, and then finally the wasp comes out. But here, the story or the imagination is that that insect was metamorphosed into the wasp. That's the example. So thinking, constantly thinking, because the insect is constantly thinking of only one thing, what? The wasp. So only one pratyaya, one vritti is there in the seeker. What is that? I am Brahma. In those nididhyasana shlokas which we studied, in that is a aham brahmeti. This thought will become, it will create our what do you call, aspiration for seeking Brahman. So the one pratyaya, one thought continuously is in the mind of the Jivan Mukta. That is why he becomes what he is. So as the saying goes, you are what your thoughts are. So your thoughts is Brahman, so slowly you would be metamorphosis into Brahman. So complete, there is a transformation, all just like the insect gives up its insecthood and becomes a wasp. Like that, the jivahood is dropped and one attains Brahman, infinite. He is free from this cage. Then there's a beautiful shloka. Titva moharnavam hatva ragadveshadi rakshasan yogi shanti samayukta atma ramo virajate. A yogi who is a Jivan Mukta, after crossing the ocean of delusion and killing the monsters of passion and aversion, becomes united with the peace and dwells in the bliss derived from the realization of the self alone. This is an allegory from the life of Sri Ramachandra in the Ramayana. So here, what is the yogi or the spiritual aspirant is compared to Sri Rama. And he is the self, and the peace is Mother Sita. He was happy, whether it's Ayodhya or whether in the forest, he was happy. But the peace became victim to Ravana's abduction. With that, he lost his peace. And he had to go in search of that peace. And he had to cross the ocean, which parted from Sri Lanka to India. And then he had to fight the demons and then finally get united with Sita. So is the journey of an spiritual aspirant who has taken spiritual life seriously. He has to cross to the ocean of delusion. Ocean of delusion from the time immemorial. Ajnana is anadi. We do not know when we became too many. We were one infinite reality. When the one became many, we do not know. From then on, we have been having our individual mind, individual ego, and with that comes the host of delusion, of I and mine. How many births, how many creation we have gone through. All this, it's a vast ocean of delusion we have to go through. But the good thing is, even one single minute of conscious living is equivalent to one whole life of unconscious living. Such is the power of conscious living, to be very conscious of one's divinity, even for 1 minute. Then imagine if we constantly make practice, all this ocean of delusion we can overcome. This is the good thing about it. And we have to kill the Rakshasas, Ravanas and Kumbhakarnas, and so many are there. They are the passions, aversion, likes and dislikes. Likes and dislikes for small things, okay, this likes and dislikes, when it increases in their proportions, it may be very dangerous. And so after killing all that, then he gets united with peace. Samayukta, samyak, completely becomes one with them and lives happily with this realization of the self. Finally, we come to the last verse. Bahyanitya sukha saktim hitva atmasukha nivritaha ghatastha deepavat sastha swantareva prakashate. Relinquishing attachment to illusory external happiness, the self-abiding Jivan Mukta, satisfied with the bliss derived from the Atman, shines inwardly like a lamp placed inside a jar. A beautiful expression. As we said, a Jivan Mukta, Sri Ramakrishna says, doesn't grow two horns. He is like us in every way. All as far as the external things goes, he is same as us. But what makes him different from us? There is certain things. That is, internally, he is entirely different. And that is what the shloka is. See, it's the light of consciousness. With the light of consciousness, the whole universe is being perceived. It's the light of consciousness which goes through the mind and the senses, reveals the world. We know the process of involved, all the processes involved in perception of the external world. That consciousness goes through the mind, through the sense organs, and reveals the object. In the waking state, a Jivan Mukta, when he deals with the people, when he works, naturally, like us, like all of us, how we perceive the world, he also perceives the world. That means that his consciousness is going through, is flowing out through the mind and senses, and he's perceiving the same world as I and you perceive. But when the yogi withdraws the senses and the mind, what happens? That's what he's doing. Supposing we place a lamp on the table. The lamp will radiate and illumine all the objects that as much the capacity of the lamp, the objects around will be illuminated. Fine. Now we take a pot and place the lamp inside the pot. What happens? The lamp illumines only the space within. The space within the pot is illuminated. In the same way, when the sadhaka, when a vijnani, Jivan Mukta, withdraws his consciousness from the mind and the senses, he becomes Yuanta Sukho Antararama Satantar Jyotirevayah. Shri Krishna describes in the Bhagavad Gita. But there is something more to know. In Vedanta, subtlety is measured through its pervasiveness. Three things. The Vedanta gives hierarchy. The gross body. I'm here, I'm not in Tapovan. No? This is the limitation of the gross things. If it's in one place, it cannot be in another place. Gross things are very, very limited. But mind is subtler. I can be here and I quickly can go to India and come back because mind is pervasive. So subtlety, immensity, inwardness, these three go together. The body is gross. Subtler than the body is the mind because of its subtlety, its pervasiveness, and its inwardness. Buddhi is still finer. And the Atman being the subtlest of the subtle, being the innermost self, is vast, all-pervading. It's all-pervading. Sarva-vyapa, all-pervading. Nothing pervades it. I am pervaded by space. I am limited by space. We are limited by so many things. Mind is limited by space and time. Name and form, all this. But the Atman is all-pervading. Once he withdraws himself, he is no more the little spiritual aspirant or yogin. He is infinity itself. The experience is nothing less, nothing short of infinity. He enjoys infinite existence, unbroken consciousness, and unalloyed bliss. These are the one which really we are aspiring for. None of us want to die. Death and pain we avoid. That's the goal of Vedanta. Atyantiki, dukkha nivritti. Cessation of all the sorrows. And Paramananda Prapti. Attainment of infinite bliss, perfect bliss, unalloyed bliss. And this is what Vedanta is promising. This is what the Jivan Mukta gets. So this is like, if I know what I'm going to get by putting all my effort, so I would really work on myself. This is what the Vedanta yoga is promising me. I'll put all my, because this is my opportunity. I have got perfect chance. We are living in this modern world. We don't have to suffer hard to meet the two ends. Economically, we are well established. And politically, many of us are lucky. And we have got this human body. And we have got the Vedanta. All these have been there. And now just thing is, give undivided attention to the reality which is already in us. That's all we have to do. Then we will be the enjoyer of infinite existence, infinite knowledge, and unalloyed infinite bliss. With that, we finish this chapter.
There's time for some questions. Those joining us via Zoom, I will just unmute you so you're welcome to ask questions as well. Yes, Joe.
Mataji. You said about I and mine. That's the main problem with the us. We have the ego. So I'd like to know, when will our ego will disappear in this world while living in this world? When will the ego disappear? Will the ego will be there? Will we have till the birth or till the death?
Depends upon how you are working on yourself.
So when you say Jiva Mukta, Jiva Mukta is actually, yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. So that means the ego is not there when you're Jiva Mukta?
Ego, in his meditations, it might go away.
Yeah. So
only because of that, only because the ego has gone,
yes.
That is why he has this awareness of his true nature.
So
he's aware of his.
So Jiva Mukta does not have ego, basically.
We can't say that. That's a controversy.
Will that ego disappear before the death?
Yeah, of course. It will. It has to. But if the realization is true, if it is not an hallucination, if it is a true realization, of course, phalena parachiyate, we can understand with the very result. A man of self-realization, we can know the way how he deals with the universe. So you can make out whether he has realized, or if I have realized, I will know. Or if I have not realized and show off myself that I have realized, but I will know in my heart of heart what my realizations are, whether I have truly realized. So it is samvedya. From outside, we will not know who has realized. The person himself can understand. And if the person has realized the Atman, his ego gone.
But he still exists. Still he remains
because of the prarabdha karma.
Prarabdha karma.
And I don't think he will have that realization.
I'm not sure.
Huh? Yeah, that's why Sri Ramakrishna says that maybe there is borderline between the realization, like Sri Ramakrishna says.
Ramakrishna had the desire of the
bhakti.
Taste.
No, that is different because he had to teach the mankind. The Divine Mother asked him to remain in Bhavamukha. That's the only place he can stand. If not, he will be Jada Samadhi. For 6 months, he was in Jada Samadhi, where you put it in the food, it drop away. So such type of, because the very purpose of his coming will be wasted. So the Divine Mother put him in such a way that he could do the work, at the same time have the fullest realization of his self. So he was in between. He could see this way and that way both. He was in between, in the threshold of relative and transcendent. That's the place. But for ordinary people, what I think, because I'm not a person of realization, that's why I'm saying, I think they will maybe bordering on the realization. Like Sri Ramakrishna says, when the mind goes to sixth plane, seventh is the nirvikalpa samadhi. But when the mind is going very close, it is like a light in the lantern. You think you can touch it. No, but there is a vyavadhan, there is a glass. But that doesn't stop you from the light. Bright light is there. And you can see everything with the help of that light. But you cannot touch it because there is the glass. So might be like that. So he understands completely. He is not deluded by the name and form and whatever the world is. He can perceive the reality behind, but because he has that prarabdha, so he has got this ego of knowledge, or that ego is harmless. It is not harming him. It will not take him away from his goal. But as long as the body remains, the prarabdha karma remains, he might be barred. But this is only controversy. People say no. Many are there who say deny this, and many are there who say can be. It can possibly, because it's logical. So with the body, it goes up. With the body, it goes, and he will become one with the universal consciousness. And all the elements of his body will go to the, from the elements from which it had come, and he just melts, like the space. Just like the space. Only then. If not, any Tom, Dick, and Harry dying will not become one with the Atman. No. Or he has become one with the world. No. If he has this ego that I'm such and such a person, even if he is well evolved in the spiritual life, he may still have the ego. But if he has almost the experience of the knowledge of the self, it may be a very small borderline line, insignificant that is, that will not hamper any vision, his vision of universality. And then it just drops off, and he's one, no more birth.
So Sri Ramakrishna did not have ego, he had a little bit.
That the Divine Mother kept it. See, Ramakrishna doesn't belong to us in our category. He doesn't fall into our category. He has, the whole consciousness has solidified and come as Sri Ramakrishna. Chid Ghanakar. We say, na? Chid Ghanakar. When his bhajan, we say.
Yeah.
So this kaya, this body, is consciousness solidified. So his case is entirely different.
No.
But even he says, I haven't, when M says, because you have kept the ego of devotee, that is, no, I have not kept, the mother has kept.
Mother has that.
That's the beauty of Sri Ramakrishna. Never take anything to the.
So this Jiva Mukta here is same as in the Bhagavad, the Brahma Buddha. Not
Sita Prajna, everything.
All the same thing.
Same. Trigunatita, Sita Prajna, the Bhakti, the Bhakta.
Yeah.
Who
So
has given up?
In other case, if you come from Jiva Mukta, the Maya has no effect.
Like how it has on us. In an unenlightened.
Maya Aditya, is it?
Maya maybe.
Oh, Mother Aditya.
Huh?
Maya Aditya.
No, he is not in the Adhina. He is not the master of, he may not be the master, but the Maya is not having its influence on him as how it has on us. That's all. He may be, because he is an ordinary.
But in Maya Aditya, Maya is completely cut off. Maya has no control.
I don't understand what you said.
Yeah.
Huh?
Beyond
yes, that's what I'm saying. Because
Adina, Aditya, Adisha. Three cups.
See, this person has realized his oneness with the Brahman.
Yes.
Because of his prarabdha karma, the experience may not be as we expect in other incarnations, but enough for him to live a perfect, happy, true, free life, not influenced by Maya. And whether he's Adhina or Nadhina, all that I don't know. But Maya will not have its influence on him as how it has on us, unenlightened persons.
Oh.
This much I'm sure.
Yeah.
That's all is my understanding.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Cool.
All right. Did Jaya exhaust all the questions? Maybe.
Yeah.
All right, then our thanks to Sridharaprana ji. Be a few announcements. So we'll have the yoga class on Thursday morning from 10 to 11:15 a.m. On Friday night, we have the Bhagavad Gita discussion led by Gayatri ji. Next Sunday, the topic for Gayatri ji's talk is Truth Alone Triumphs. And for those of you, many of you who are here members, so a reminder that we have the annual general meeting next Sunday afternoon. So of course, we'd like to, as many of you to attend as possible. We will have a Zoom link, so you do have that option to join via Zoom. Following Sunday, we have the 1st of September, we have Sri Krishna's birthday celebration. Keep that in mind. Also, further ahead in September, on the 15th of September, we'll have a meditation day from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. here in Vedanta Hall. If you're planning to attend, please let us know. We have a limit of 20 people. Already numbers are building up, so please let us know. There'll be some yoga relaxation exercises conducted by Hiroko. Gayatri will be giving a talk. I'll be doing a guided meditation. And in the afternoon, we'll have a walking meditation, walking the labyrinth. It's a very nice, very ancient practice. So I do hope you can join us for that. And 22nd, Sunday 22nd, the plan is to have a retreat at Dharma. We'll give a bit more information about that later. So thanks for coming today. And thanks to those joining us via Zoom.